If I could Steven, probably shipping 187. Could increase my commitment because I don't want to discount. Yeah, the 27 is so small.
I just want them to know probably
Yeah,
I should do a buy shop all these.
and I might call that after the
Yeah. Like, yeah, our blue is still. So we should, I just want to give them a heads up.
Yeah, I'll okay. They just said no. No, because I was going to check the question mic, but I don't want to do it.
But those aren't the questions,
No, I know. The guy asked me, but I read just like something to go on.
Still is on. They got sessions.
Once it starts, it's got to, I've got to.
Eric, go ahead. Go. They're grilling. Al Franken is grilling this guy.
Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, hey. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check. I'm raising it right now. Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, hey. 1, 2. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Hey, hey. Okay, I'm backing up.
Being in the front, you're low.
Okay.
Gaining.
That's what I'm doing.
Gain structure.
That's what I'm doing. Okay. Check, check. I cranked it up on each fader and now I'm on the master. Check, check. Hey, hey.
Still
1,
getting
2.
out of there, sir.
Check. Testing. 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Yeah. No, actually, no. Just one. I think these four here.
Right until the end of this press conference because otherwise I'll bleed into everybody else's sound.
Check, check. Hey, 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Testing. 1, 2. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next mic. You guys go with this? I'm going to the next mic. Hang on, hang on. Check. This is the other microphone. Handheld 3. Check. 1, 2. How's this one?
I'm gonna do the first one. We have enough
How's this
cameras
one?
here to do it, but
This is good?
plus I
Okay.
can,
And let me check the last one.
we got
Hold
3
on.
cameras.
Do you know the press conference? Will he do the live?
Oh, I think they're gonna try to use it because he's gonna ask a question, and then as soon as
check.
they're done, he's gonna go here.
Check. 1, 2.
Oh, I see
2,
you wanna
2.
slide over a little bit.
Check.
I want to even listen like that.
Hey, 1, 2.
I think you might be alright.
Okay.
Because I don't think he's shooting the press conference, but I think as soon as his press conference comes, he's gonna come here.
Okay, I will say it.
This is his or yours?
Okay, I'm good here.
You sure?
Yeah.
I like your angle though. You're the only one that got the nice side angle.
My angle is good. Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I'm not.
Yeah, compared to the one.
No, I know. I like it. I think it looks right. I mean,
Yeah, it looks good.
I would live with that. Yeah, you're better than that. I mean, I can move this a little bit for you.
No, it's okay. I will say thank you.
That's not a match.
That's it, Steve. Thank you.
All right, we just want to go over some of that covenant as well. All right, great. 5-0.
Huh?
5-0.
That's all you're doing, right? It's a press conference? That's what you want, right?
Yeah, I just that's it.
So this hit is done?
Move back to 12:15.
I'm killing your comms. You want your comms to stay up? I'll keep them engaged.
You got enough juice in the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, we may as well stay connected.
I'll keep them engaged. I'm taking it out of my ear. Keep me on.
I'm gonna go outside. It's just the way I
You that kind of guy. That's one person that will keep you. They put that in there, right? So, Ed.
I'm sorry, don't excuse my urgency.
Come on, man.
I guess I told you.
This is the morning actor.
Oh, people are just
I just had a Red Bull really hyped up.
You're killing this, bitch.
Thank you, man.
Please excuse my overreaction.
All right. Got it. Thanks. We built some sand.
You're not gonna move seats, are you?
There it should be.
You're not gonna move seats. Move seats. Stay where you're sitting.
Okay.
I would like, I want to, but I don't want to send it to someone else. Control, like, he knows the boundaries.
You never come in there anymore.
You got that spare room,
Plus,
just leave it here for him.
Well,
it's funny, although I am closer to the door, when people walk in,
have this, man.
they look straight.
Yeah.
And that's how the room, like, thank you.
I'll wire it. Don't worry about it.
I mean, we literally have I don't know,
Yeah.
2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Tommy and I had to go.
Yeah.
But if you think you got time to wire it, all right.
If he comes in now, I don't want to, Emily, go get him.
You got 25 minutes.
We should be in the window. All through.
Scratch your step, right?
We'll wire this guy up. All right, I'll be certain.
Nice.
You know, never lose. Yeah. To me, without kids, he's the Well, I'll tell you what. Are you fresh? You tell me. Let me squeeze by you. That's right. You mean Chris, why don't you put this on? You be all about it. Know what that level's gonna do?
We're not gonna have to wait for 30 minutes. Once you get him there, then I can start. That way he can just do all of it. Because that's what I guess is this our one copy of the because he's in 1 o'clock. Yeah, you get him wired up, you can be mobile with him. Yeah, just make sure it's here. That way, all we have to do is just.
Do you have any gappers tape?
I do.
That'll make it super easy.
There.
Hey, Bill, how you doing, bro?
Here's a phone.
Okay.
All right, thanks for coming in to do this. Larry's gonna wire you all up. I think you're gonna be wireless, so we want you to have to see if you're clear. And this is covering this hearing. So
Easy access on the back of the
Yeah, whatever.
were you just? Okay. I just saw you.
Come on, do is violate your privacy and just leave everything dead.
Good lawyer, man. That's all it takes. Did you write about this last night? I haven't seen that. Right. This morning, or it's online now? But after yesterday's meeting.
I just wrote,
Yeah, because we appreciate, we didn't make it into the night news last night, but I know our producer did an interview with yesterday. Really good stuff, and, you know, I don't know where he went, it's made MSNBC today, but, Penn State decided that there wasn't going to be any sort of affirmative yesterday. They decided they didn't have to support it. I wrote a story for them, but it didn't air. Steve.
Yeah, I asked Steve. It sounds like they're really looking at, they're not sure.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, because they're still building session.
Greg did a piece this morning on this picture.
I had a stalker. Usually he kind of looks like a Chris.
So one, podium for two, yes, three.
Hey, Courtney.
Thank you for cooperating.
Because it looked like people were left. That's why I was like, oh, it's over.
This isn't over yet.
And a guy walked out.
Yeah, people are coming down.
Hey, Doc.
I didn't even choose, like, I just, I can't even, I talked to him now. He said that.
Sorry.
We all.
That level good enough for you, Emma? You need some more gain.
Actually, I can just stretch it out. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Ron Mott and, I'm sorry, RS number?
Come to us.
The camera once they done its own course.
What we doing? Yeah, I'm listening to. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. All right.
have one with dessert tray.
Double chocolate fries. Delicious. Better than my mother. She's pretty good. Better than my wife. She's really good.
You might not want to drink that. My personal experience.
So,
If you take the trip, we're going to be They said the air conditioning, you felt that. They may go wall to wall with this hearing, so probably won't be
no, okay.
jumping out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it keeps hanging up for some reason.
Is that? Yeah, you're, yeah.
Thank you. He's supposed to speak at 12:30.
Hey guys.
For you or for Hollywood?
Oh,
Yeah, it was in my pocket. Getting old.
Steven wasn't done, man. He had
Yeah, I
a
was
lot of
really intrigued about that. I didn't know what I was
wait, I was,
intrigued
well,
about.
there's more fresh now.
Stalker or the one that's
One day I can see you all.
New Jersey, long distance.
Sorry, Astoria, that's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I'm staying right here.
It's close. It's crazy. I roll it.
There you go. Make sure you put that in. And I'm sure everyone knows how to put that in. Common mistake.
Wherever it is, I'll be honest.
Not bad. I just want, I want Hollywood to be able to do it.
Greener.
If he does that, if he does,
Let's watch this on the And they had the daughter. She was just like her.
Danny Lynn?
She's like my job.
Gosh, haven't done that. No, maybe 10.
Yeah, she was just like that. And he just like her, just like. And of course, all the memories came back. Hey, they gave the kid a shot.
I miss that judge. He retired. He retired like with a little bit of a black cloud.
I was going for a movie set. I gotta say, that's one of the best times in my life. Best times in my career. We had a great time.
so I don't know that much about Goodell.
Playing about being
I mean, I can see you.
So we're talking about going into the life. So I was in 1 o'clock.
Thank you.
What if I pay for travel to Long Island?
Yeah, that's fine.
away.
Here,
Seriously.
We'll negotiate the travel.
Yes.
I also charge $20 an hour, and I ask that food get delivered to the house.
Delivered?
Well, usually they're seamless. Do you have seamless in Long Island?
Definitely. I live in suburbia.
No.
We don't have like any.
I don't know what it's like out there.
Oh, wow. One of your referrals.
What?
One of your references.
Somebody gonna throw a light on him? When he comes in.
You got a hold of one. Right there. There's a lighting.
You log into that, right?
Actually, we put a battery in
They heat it up a little.
Put it in. Put it on the floor and shoot off.
Coming over to 37 on Monday.
I like it that way. You get 58. It can. It can.
No, sir, you wireless. Give them Leo down, get you if they call for you.
Can I pick up? I just wanted to.
Yeah,
You can just come and grab it.
Don't venture too far.
I won't. I'll stay right
Okay.
there. I'll be within eye shot.
I'll find you.
Okay.
Tell me if you're needed.
Joe? Thank you.
Unless I'm doing 330 acre.
Wait, so what's the deal?
430 gas.
Oh, 430.
Only had 25 years.
Open bar, I heard.
You mean the big boss sent me the invitation?
Huh?
Big boss sent me the invitation.
I still special initiative.
No, he didn't.
I mean, me and 3 other guys. Maybe we got a poker game going. A little high and low game.
Did you really get a handwritten note? Oh, I was gonna say.
It does.
I just had my 5 year. I got into the process.
You know what they give you, man. I got a year and a half of my 25. They couldn't give me anything.
Some of the years back.
Alright, thank you, shit, Tony. Anthony got cheated off his album. His years better.
To give me a kiss or one behind the left ear.
2 in the year.
Yeah. We're talking about it.
Yes, sir.
If you make it 40 years, you should give you and your wife or husband respectively a vacation. Right? How much would it cost to put that in the idea box? Right? I mean, because especially in our department, we have a home. They just blow us and we have to go. Right? So it'd be nice to pay the station.
Hey, you know something? That's a hell of an idea.
I think it is a great idea.
Maybe I'd still be back.
Then the suggestion box. What do you say?
Hey, baby, you want to go to Baghdad? maybe.
All expenses paid.
Maybe Beirut, Lebanon. How's it?
Mark, Neil wants me to come on.
Olivia, baby.
Neil wants me to come on, I guess, to get started to talk to him.
People like food.
Which, Neil wants to talk to me here for a second, I think, because it hasn't started. Yeah, I hear fine. You hear me on this?
Is that turned on?
Should be. Yeah, they hear me. I may as well just use this.
Yeah, it was just helping me out.
I'm sure we'll get some sort of one.
Oh, yeah.
Things control 7 again?
You're done, right?
All right. Well, how much? We have a second round. Let me put this in my chair. So
I mean, I guess it just depends on all our stuff.
Like they take you right before and say, we're waiting for the commissioner, and here he is.
you guys see that?
Get a feed to beef.
They may,
Yeah.
they may just go right to Bill. You know,
Very presidential.
I don't, again, he's going into this 1 o'clock hour as well. But they may,
You wouldn't insurance.
no, but if they decide to go take this, and if they talk on the other side, it probably won't be me.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Copy that.
Hey, it's Mark McConnell on the Producers Bridge.
The thing is, if they don't stay with
Copy that.
the Dell all the way through,
Appreciate it, thank you.
then I can't see them
Right.
coming back to the.
What does that master say? We'll see. Now, there was no discussion.
No, come on, like that.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Then we'll tell you. We're gonna kill this.
Come on, Bill, you want to do the segment with me? Sure. The guy was referencing the book yesterday that was shouting at Jerry. Demonstration. Shouting at Jerry.
Oh, yeah, he did.
$40 million slave.
I haven't read it yet. Yeah.
Well, I don't know either, Neil. I mean, we never really got a firm time for the start of this to begin with. The memo that was sent out earlier was something like 12:15-ish, so you're right, they are running a little bit late. I can tell you what was interesting about yesterday and day one of the meetings, they had a separate meeting, players and owners, a smaller group of owners at a different location here in New York before. The whole group of 32 NFL owners came here to Lower Manhattan to begin their meeting, and that get together with the players went a lot longer than was expected, which was really the storyline of yesterday. They said it was just good dialogue that they had and that kind of thing, and called it a productive meeting. But to the point, and you and I had this conversation last hour when I was on with you, when it was all said and done, the commissioner came into this room last night, just briefly, didn't hold really a news conference, just made a brief statement and said, that they had a good meeting and that they agreed to talk again. They would meet in a couple of weeks and talk not only about the anthem protests that we've been talking about in particular, but that the issues that the players are concerned about around those protests, issues of social justice and what have you, and they would have that meeting, players and owners, within the next 2 weeks, according to Roger Goodell. So that's what he said last night, and they promised at the time that he would come back today for this full-blown news conference, and now we're running a little bit late on that. Some of the owners have been seen here in the last few minutes, kind of slowly making their way out of here, so you get the idea maybe the meeting is wrapping up, and hopefully we'll get the commissioner in a few minutes. We'll see. Yeah.
You. Thank you. Thanks for this.
Bill?
I know there's been also speculation about some sort of a day or a week dedicated to the issues of social justice surrounding the players. Almost like, this month is dedicated to breast cancer awareness, for example. You see many of the players wearing, a pink wristband or something like that. There might be some sort of a day dedicated to the issues that they care about. Again, we don't know. There hasn't been any confirmation, and certainly it wasn't speculated about by the commissioner in that brief statement last night. We'll see. I mean, if he says anything further about it today, but it's tough. I mean, it's to you, but I was talking to you last time, Neil, is that when you poll people like Gallup did on football's popularity, they find that it's down overall, but it's not as simple as that. They also find this has become so politicized, and that the league is losing Republicans at a faster clip than it's losing Democrats. It doesn't speak directly to the anthem protest issue, but a lot of people think that that's the reason. So again, we'll ask the commissioner about that, because that speaks to the business impacts, a multi-billion-dollar business. No. Okay, no problem. No, you enjoy it.
I can, yes. And they look good, and they work in the.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
They look good, and they work in the.
Okay. Oh, they do?
Yeah, they're both. They had red.
No.
Sure. Where's your cell phone? Can you give it to Emily? Get a date of birth. Emily, take this phone. Do you remember what's up, brother? Yeah. Why? Tell Ron that. I did. All right, good to go. Get him in place. Yeah.
But they need to let me know. You need to let me know what I'm doing here. So I'm tethered.
I just want you to stand next to a big guy.
Right, do you want to stand on this side of this?
Well, the meetings are starting to break up now. Some of the owners are coming out. The commissioner is still in some committee meetings. what we've learned today is that in those meetings, they talked about how to go forward with their communicating their plan to support the players in fighting social injustice. They don't know the details yet, but some owners expressed frustration that the league had not done a better job earlier getting out the message that the protests were not about the military, were not about the flag, but that they were about social injustice. So that's one of the things they talked about today.
Tell them if they want me to let me know.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Oh, Bob, I think he's more than encouraged. He said he went in not knowing what to expect. And when he came out, he said it was a good meeting and a productive meeting. He said he was actually surprised at some of the things he heard from the owners in a good way. The owners said to him, this is not a player issue. It's not a league issue. It's an America issue. And that, for the players, was heartening because it showed that the owners were committed in hearing what the players were saying. The other thing Antoine said to me was that he got a sense from the owners that they said they were proud of the players for standing up for their beliefs, and that going forward, they would be heard. And Antoine said that was big. In fact, the owners said they want to meet with the players next Tuesday, but Antoine and Malcolm Jenkins are doing what are called listen and learn tours. Antoine is doing one in Detroit on Tuesday, Malcolm Jenkins is doing one in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and so they put it off for another week. So in 2 weeks, the owners are expected to meet with the players again. Well, look, the owners always listen to Jerry when it comes to money, but on these issues, there were a number of owners who were upset with him that he came out and painted his players in that corner because his players had already said they were going to stand for the anthem. I was told coming into these meetings that if Jerry had sounded off about this again, there were owners who were prepared to talk him down. So from that standpoint, there's no question that he does not speak for all of the owners in that room. Unfortunately, we in the media sometimes act as if Jerry speaks for all the owners because he's so accessible and can be so loud on things, but he does not speak for all the owners. No, it's an incredible gesture. Obviously, he still gets some bonus checks, but just the fact that he would give up 16 game checks, I mean, that's just an incredible gesture, and it just shows what kind of man and what kind of character he has. Thanks, Bob. Okay. Okay. We do. Hopefully it'll be soon. All right, Bob, I appreciate you. Yeah.
What?
Okay.
You wrong.
Yep.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
So I wrote him like 50 hands. He told me to.
I should put it back to the briefcase. Can I do that?
Or you can just put it on the chair and stand where you stand. Like, I don't really need shot.
You'll be in the white shirt, that's okay. Yeah. It'll have the commercial.
You doing this George Bush thing tomorrow?
I'm not sure.
So you would know. You have to check in really early. It's 7 o'clock. I got to cover it.
Actually, I didn't receive anything. I have you.
Yeah, you would know. Probably.
Information. I have to check 7, you said? 7?
7 o'clock check in. You would have already been credentialed. And then Friday's off. I might take Friday off. Just
So tomorrow is Thursday. No, it's Tuesday. Time flies.
Yeah, time flies. Yesterday I was following around Harvey Weinstein's lawyer.
Yesterday I've seen you visiting your colleague.
Joe.
Joe.
He was here yesterday.
Yeah.
He's about to get married. So he's stressed out about that.
supposed to start
Yeah,
at
you got it.
12:15. You're plugged in, right?
Guys, sir, this point on, that camera's hot, so do me courtesy, just do. Okay. They back up for a bump.
One more time.
Should they come for a bump, man?
I know. You're right. I'll control traffic.
They didn't even tease us in this. Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm running office. I say to myself, bills and comments on the ground. Wow. Leave it to you to introduce Leslie.
Still really want to do this. I think Karen's really into it, and he has his
We found some
precincts the other this weekend. And I'm not sure we have plans on Thursday or Friday, so maybe Tuesday.
Needs to do some jumping jacks. How you holding up?
Going to Florida tomorrow for a wedding. Just get tons. It's supposed to rain the whole time I'm in. It's gonna be good.
There's coffee out
Those guys are sort
I got you, give me a Sal.
PL.
Tony's on the PL.
Boring. Still being told another half hour. Yeah. What? Meaning 2 o'clock? I mean, so they've been saying half hour every half hour for the last 4 hours. Who knows?
Endless talking.
This is Johnny. Copy me for this.
I got you, yes, sir. This. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all they were doing. Was ready.
They'll just yell, Commissioner Goodell, they'll just yell. But they will give you money.
Told you. I know. Getaway.
Yeah, people are eating over money. It's just not cool.
That's gonna be broken.
Stand by, we're next.
Well, Wendy, yesterday it was all about the players and the owners talking. Today was the time for the owners to react to what the league presented to them. And within the meeting today, there was lots of discussion about what happens if a player decides to leave. Can an owner punish the player? The game operations bylaw saying the player should stand, but not must stand. So what was the reaction some of the owners gave within the meeting when that came up?
Well, nothing has changed in terms of the game operation manual. What's interesting is I asked
They'll
two
be there
owners,
in like-
what happens if a team does discipline a player for taking the knee? And both of them said they don't know. That conversation did not come up. One told me there's concern, there's a gray area, that in all likelihood you would get a grievance or maybe even a lawsuit, and that's a road that they don't want to go down right now. But nothing was resolved in terms of that, so we'll have to see if any owner decides to take that action.
Within the course of the meeting today, we heard a lot of discussion sort of back channel about the pace of the discussions with the players on this subject? What are you hearing from some of the owners on that?
Well, today, the owners talked a lot about communication in terms about how to get out a message that the demonstrations are not about disrespecting the flag or the anthem or the military. And some owners were upset that the league has been too slow in getting that message out. So look for them to work on PSA, public service announcement, at some point, stating what these demonstrations are actually about.
They've been behind the sticks, so to speak, to use a football metaphor on this entire thing. And they need to get out in front of it, and I think a lot of others want to do that. Now, we talked to a couple of players, I know you have, and it looks like the league is looking for a list of priorities from the players, and the players are putting that together over the phone and perhaps meeting in the next 2 weeks. Things like social equality, police brutality, a list where they can attach some action items that the league and the players can partner with. What are you doing on that?
Well, I talked to Anquan Bolden this morning, and he told me they are going to meet with the owners again in 2 weeks. The owners wanted to meet Tuesday. Bolden and Malcolm Jenkins are both doing what are called listen and learn tours. Bolden is doing one in Detroit, Malcolm Jenkins is doing one in Harrisburg, PA, and so they're not going to meet this coming Tuesday, but the following one. The players said they were really surprised at how receptive the owners were to their ideas, and they plan on working with them going forward. Bolden told me, I have never heard the owners talk so positively about the players, and as the owners said to them, this is not a player issue, it's not an owner issue, it's an American issue, and they want to help the players work to deal with it.
And it looks like the players are going to talk individual teams.
It's supposed to be 2 hours.
Get this message, right? So that
Any minute now, really. I mean, literally within the next 5 to 10 minutes. As you can imagine, we've all been frustrated waiting. And this is sort of
There will be. Eric Reed has already said he's going to continue
there's
to
a lot of speculation, a lot of building.
if players on other teams
Tired of
continue to
building
do
up
that,
speculation.
how we're on.
We're waiting for the actual game.
In week
In
6,
this case, the
about
game
14
is
or 15 demonstrations.
what happens?
17.
What are the players going to come up with? What is this?
I think the
What is this
NFL
really
realizes
groundbreaking
that this
agreement
way,
going to
they
be
have
like?
a
This is
chance
a very
to
unique
get out in
time
front of
for
the
both
issue.
players and owners. This is really for the first time that I can remember
Back to
that
you, Wendy.
the conversation has not been so much collision, but a collaboration. This is nothing contractual. This is more dealing with ethics and morality. So we're all very eager to hear what both sides are coming up with. And I don't expect the dancing scrolls. Don't expect there to be a planned decision, but so we're looking for the tone, the direction.
Yeah, he left. If he has a second, I'd like to talk to him. Thank you. Hey, Steve. Two things. Can you match this off for about 287 for Rick call? I'm gonna shoot the presser, NFL presser, and then he's gonna come to the camera as soon as that's done, so you might not see him until then. Yeah, they just latch it in, and then I'll call in whenever he's ready. In case they pop him in, it'll already be latched for us. You know what I mean? All right, cool. 287. 287. All right, thank you. Fun.
you know, the NFLPA is still reacting. I mean, they've been 2 or 3 steps slow and behind on this all the way around. What's great about this, Craig, is that this is really being driven by players, even from Kaepernick. They've decided, I mean, they've almost put the Players Association on the periphery, saying, this is our issue, we're going to define this issue, we've got this. Essentially, the Players Association sort of relegated to being kind of water boys to this. They're going to carry out what the players deliver. And I think that's what's really great about this, is that this is going to be a player-driven initiative, as it should be. And not just any players, but also players who have, since last year, have really been involved in this. Because this, as Mike, it's so easy for this movement to be co-opted and watered down. And I think that's going to be the big challenges, is controlling the narrative, which they can do, that this is about police brutality and about social justice. And I think in terms of talking about the White House, I think it's really important for the players to stay really focused, on the major issues and not deal with a lot of misdirection and double talk. Stay really focused on the issue and the initiative. And again, that's social justice, police brutality, how to create better relationships between owners, community, players, and law enforcement.
Hey, well, is Greg on?
You got it. I'm just gonna look.
Do you have another Greg working there? I don't know about.
Okay, cool. You got this.
Haven't got anything recently.
Hey, Stephen, I just heard about one more thing. The pressure on 20-second delay, I'm gonna have Rick come over. I gotta switch over to a 1-second delay, so.
And you know,
No worries, just a heads up. The pressure's at 20 seconds, and then I might have to ask you to switch over to 1-second delay once he comes over from the live shot. Just want to give you a heads up. My bandwidth is low, so I'm gonna keep it up for the pressure because it's safe. Well, just want to give you a heads up. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, sure, yes. You're welcome.
The mic is down, sir.
Huh?
The mic is down.
Oh.
The mic is off.
Okay.
You have privacy.
Yeah, I say the same thing, public or private.
So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't burn
They
you.
might get our bump.
I wouldn't burn you like that. You we block you out.
No,
I've
you're
got
right.
150 cents.
If you want to walk around,
120 seconds.
You just
Oh,
stopped
really?
right in
Yeah,
front of
oh,
it.
okay.
Let
Okay,
it
all
start.
right.
50 minutes.
Just stop.
Yeah, I live right forward on Edgecombe.
Yeah, I know you. That's comfortable.
5 minutes?
5-minute warning.
5 minutes. We just got a 5-minute warning.
Finally.
Hey, New York, we just got a 5-minute warning for this Emily. We just got a 5-minute warning.
This is not a fire drill. This one's for real. Because it came from me. News you can trust.
Official 5-minute warning
I was
from
gonna-
Brian.
just about to email.
Oh, wow.
Hey. 5 minutes, 5 minutes.
New York, can you hear me? 5 minutes until the back. No problem.
In New York, 11th Corner Bridge, NFL press Break 5 minute warning for the press run.
Listen, you want to sit in that, turn that chair around, sit right there, and keep moving you clear? And then you want to sit with Fred.
Sit with Fred, I can.
You know what, I'll hit it now.
Okay.
Yes, don't mind me stand right there.
Big help, thank you.
Why is he still he doesn't say
Okay, and
That's right, man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we're caught.
One of those,
Yeah, this one's yours.
got mixed in there, right?
This one's mine.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, this one's yours. Thank you. I see you. This one from your roll?
I already did. You might switch until. He told me it's the number 287 is Goodell press conference is going to start in 5 minutes. I know they were starting a new role for the break. Is there a way to get it all in one? I would roll for now. Okay, so it'll stay this. Perfect. Can someone send me that other Argon ID? Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
No, it's just like white noise, but ash. Just a room.
Okay. Thank you. You don't leave. Thanks anyway.
No.
Something else going on.
It's probably Jerry Jones.
Hi guys, sorry, it doesn't seem like Goodell's coming yet. I'm gonna dial him.
Oh gosh, it's the White House press conference.
Yeah.
You do.
I didn't know how quickly I might have to go to the home.
Reading staying in 27.
Right?
Hey Neil, we're told that Goodell should be here pretty soon. We already got a 5-minute warning, but that seems like it's more than 5 minutes ago. I'll let you know as soon as I know more.
I got 3,500.
Sir, for the 90-second.
It's more.
What is it?
90-second warning. 90 seconds to Goodell
This is
press.
a 90-second warning with Emily on the phone.
What do you want?
Hello, does anybody hear me? This is Emily.
We were just told 90 seconds until Goodell. 90 to Goodell.
Is anybody listening to me? Hey, sorry, nobody was answering me. I just got a 90-second warning. Okay. Thanks.
Goodell coming up in 1 minute.
Goodell now. Goodell now.
Okay, good afternoon. Before I get to your questions, I'm pleased to announce that Dallas will be the host of the 2018 NFL Draft. I think you've got a release on that. This is the first time that we will be hosting the draft at a stadium complex. We're excited by that. I want to take a moment and just thank both Chicago and Philadelphia for really doing an extraordinary job to raise the bar. They have set a new standard for the draft, created a new experience for our fans that we think will be extraordinary, and we are confident that Dallas will raise that bar even further. So I'm happy to introduce Charlotte Jones Anderson, who is going to give her view of what to expect in Dallas. Again, the ownership was very supportive, and we're all very excited to be going to Dallas next April. for the draft. Charlotte.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of the Dallas Cowboys, the City of Dallas, the City of Arlington, and the City of Frisco, we are so excited that the NFL has given us this opportunity to host the draft in April of next year. And we have had so many great civic leaders in Dallas and across from Arlington and beyond that have really done a lot of hard work here, hopefully giving a lot of ideas to the staff at the NFL, to Peter and his team. And we really think we have come up with an incredible idea and concept that will really make AT&T Stadium shine, but also will deliver a unique experience that is unlike anything that you have seen thus far at the NFL draft. But I think this is what the draft process is all about. It allows the cities to show their unique personality and hopefully invite not only fans from all over our region in Dallas and the Metroplex and beyond, but from those from out of state. That we welcome them to come to Dallas, to come to Arlington, to AT&T Stadium, to show their fandom and be a part of the draft in April. So you'll see a little bit different variation of it when you get there. A lot of those surprises are in store and will be released throughout the next few months. But again, we'd like to thank all of those who worked hard on this, but most importantly, the NFL for giving Dallas and the City of Arlington and AT&T Stadium the opportunity to host the draft. Thank you.
Any questions for Charlotte before she goes? I'm sure she doesn't want to stay for the rest of the day. Okay, I'm sure you know. Okay, so we had a very productive set of meetings in New York here over the last couple of days. We had reports from various committees, including the competition committee. Very excited about the season that we have ongoing right now. We reviewed the 6 weeks that we've played to date and the margin of victory. We talked about the penalties per game. We talked about our game presentation and the changes that we've made and how that's worked. Talked about the focus on officiating. All very positive very positive feedback on the game. We also spent a great deal of time talking about our partnerships. We extended a partnership and expanded a partnership with Ticketmaster that we think will be very fan-friendly, that will give our fans a better opportunity to buy tickets on a secure basis and give that to them on greater platforms, which we think will be very positive. And as always, we had a report on our health and safety and our initiatives there and the impact that that's having on our game. Lastly, we had a special visitor today. We had the Commissioner of the NYPD, Jimmy O'Neill, and his Chief of Police, Terry Monahan. We have been, and I specifically have had conversations with them for several months. So this has been quite a while in the making to try to understand how we can continue to expand the relationships between our clubs, our players, our communities, and the NFL. And he was very helpful in giving us insight into what their initiatives are here with the NYPD, initiatives that are going on in other parts of the country, of which I saw firsthand down in Miami as an example last week and saw in Philadelphia recently. The relationship between the players and our communities and our law enforcement is very important to us. So that was very helpful. And yesterday, as you know, I made a brief comment about, came down to see you. I'm sure there'll be more questions about our meeting with the players and owners yesterday. We also spent a great deal of time with our owners alone today, discussing our efforts with our players. I would tell you that there's a great deal of support for the efforts that our players have identified. Not only support, but a recognition these are important issues for our communities. They're American issues and certain things that we really want to, as clubs and as a league, want to not only support but also be a part of and try to help lead with our players. I think those are the key issues. I would tell you, though, just on one other issue that we spent a great deal of time talking about this morning was how much we believe everyone should stand for the national anthem. That's an important part of our policy. It's also an important part of our game that we all take great pride in. And it's also important for us to honor our flag and to our country. And we think our fans expect us to do that. And so that is something that we continue to focus on this morning
but really talking a lot about the opportunity that exists with our players to try to go and really make a difference in our communities in a positive way. So I'll let you take questions. Well, as I just said, we respect our country, respect our flag, we respect our national anthem. I think you look at our clubs and what they do on a daily basis. You look at our players and what they do and how they participate in that. We all feel very strongly about our country and our pride, and we're going to continue to do that. Well, listen, I understand we're focusing on what we can do and what we should be doing as an NFL. I think we have a great opportunity here with our players to really work together and to try to help and make differences in our community. Things that we all believe are necessary to do, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
In the game operations manual, the players should speak out of the field for the national anthem, should stand at attention, hold their helmets in their hands. It's not a rule, but it's in the policy. So why not make it a rule? Since fans seem to want it, ratings seem to be down because of objections to this protest. Why not make it a rule?
Well, I think one of the things we need to keep a focus on is, again, we believe that our players should stand for the national anthem. That's an important part of our game and our moments, and we believe in that. I think we also have to keep focus on this. We have about 6 or 7 players that are involved with this protest at this point. And this is something that what we've tried to do is deal with the underlying issue and understand what it is that they're protesting and try to address that matter. And so let me finish if you can. So the important thing for us is to be able to do that and take that opportunity to make real differences in our community. And that is really what's going to ultimately be the important aspect for us long term, because this is a long-term issue. We need to make sure we do that in the right way.
Would you agree that the image is suffering?
I understand where our fans feel about this issue, and we feel the same way about the importance of our flag, about the importance of patriotism, and I believe our players feel that way. They will state to you, and they have stated to everyone publicly, they are not doing this in any way to be disrespectful to the flag, but they also understand how it's being interpreted, and that's why we're trying to deal with those underlying issues.
Thank you, Roger. Jim Trotter here, ESPN.
I don't know where you are, Jim,
right here, in the middle,
Yes.
right here. You said you want the players to stand, and there's been no change to the game operations manual. My question is, what happens if an owner who still feels that he can discipline a player for taking a knee? What response will we see from the league if that were to happen?
Well, Jim, we just had 2 days of conversations with our owners, of which this was a fair amount of the conversation, and I think our clubs all see this the same way. That we want our players to stand. We're going to continue to encourage them to stand, and we're going to continue to work on these issues in the community. We'll address issues. I can't deal with hypotheticals right now. We'll deal with those issues if they come up. But for us right now, that's our focus.
Roger, over here.
Yeah,
at this point, what have your sponsors and the network said to you about this issue, and what do you feel the effect is on your business right now of this entire?
Yeah, Mark, we had a report on that too. Listen, we know how important this is to our sponsors, our partners, our licensees. It's important to us also. So we all share that, and we certainly are in great contact with them. We understand the issues. We want to make sure they understand our perspective of what we're doing. And in fact, if they can help us, we want them to help us in those issues. But all of this is part of the ongoing effort and understanding one another and making sure that we do the right thing in our communities and the right thing to support our players, but also do the right thing to make sure we get back to football. And in the meantime, people understand how important our country is and how important it is to make sure that we're doing things the right way to honor our country.
Roger Byron Barnett from WHDH in Boston. What is your reaction to the lawsuit filed against the NFL by the Aaron Hernandez family and their allegation that the NFL doesn't inform the players about the risks of CTE?
Listen, this is a matter of litigation, so that's something that's going to work its way through the litigation. I think there's been a great deal of focus on this issue of brain trauma. We've been through a great deal of litigation on this issue and settled a major case on concussion, so we'll let the lawyers handle that and deal with it. Yes?
Roger, Ron Mott, NBC News.
I'm sorry, you guys, I can't see you.
Hi,
Yes.
Roger. Ron Mott, NBC News.
Yes.
When you talk about supporting your players, what form or forms will that take? Because some people reasonably presume that if players felt that this league were truly on their side and supporting them in these causes and these concerns, that they would not take a knee. So how is this going to manifest itself going forward? Is the league willing to put the shield on the line to get into some sticky political and social debates?
Okay, but we're not afraid of the tough conversations. That's what we're having with our players. That's what we had yesterday, to make sure we understand one another and understand where they're coming from. And I think out of those discussions, they understand that the owners and the NFL really do care about their issues and what we can do to make the communities better. And so I think that's what dialogue's all about, and listening and understanding, so that we can get that kind of understanding between different parties. And that's what is complex about this, but that's why it's also really important to do. Because I think that's where real change really happens, and that's the opportunity for us in our communities.
If I can follow up, did they ask for anything in this meeting yesterday from the league or the ownership?
We've had discussions with them for over a year, and I think we have a very good understanding of the types of things that they're interested in, how they can get support from the NFL to do that, and we want to do that. And that could be in legislative matters, that could be in the community with, can we participate in ride-alongs and try to make sure we understand what's going on in different communities across the nation. Because the problems in one market are different than the problems in another market. And so that involves the clubs and the players getting together and making sure we truly understand what's going on in those markets. And that's where we see a real impact.
All right, Roger Connell, McShane with the Fox Business Network, and I do want to ask you a business-related question to the league. One of the things we've seen in the polling this week, Gallup had numbers that showed the popularity of pro football started to come down, but they also show there's a big political divide, whereas Republicans identifying as pro football fans down 15%, Democrats only 3%. So it doesn't directly speak to the anthem protests, but what's your reaction to those numbers, and what, if any, steps can be taken to reverse that trend?
Well, we believe doing the right thing is what you ultimately have to do. And I think listening to our players, understanding our players, trying to address those underlying issues, and making our communities better is where the real opportunity is. And that long term is going to benefit us. And so that's what our focus is, and that's how we're going to deal with it.
What about that split, though? That split between the parties, the political.
I don't think that surprises anybody. What we're trying to do is stay out of politics. We're not looking to get into politics. What we're looking to do is continue to keep people focused on football.
Commissioner, you
so
said,
people come.
Commissioner, you've been talking about, you just said,
yes.
We're going with Jason.
Ma'am, just a second.
Thank you. Commissioner, as you've said, you've been in discussions now for over a year. More discussions over the past day and a half or so. Realistically, can you tell us and tell the American people how closer you are today to resolving this?
Well, I think the fact is that we have about a half a dozen players that are protesting. We hope, and we're going to continue to work to try to put that at zero. That's what we'd like to do. But we want to make sure that we're understanding what the players are talking about, and that's complex. And we've taken the time, I personally have taken the time to go on those ride-alongs and to go and figure out what are the things in our communities that our players are expressing. And our clubs have a much better understanding of that from the meetings over the last several weeks, to hear directly from those players and do the tough work to try to understand what is it we need to accomplish together. And that's what I think is really the opportunity and what's really happening. So, yes, Judy, I see that. I can't hear you, Judy. I'm sorry.
Roger, did you come out of the meetings with the owners with an understanding that teams that have indicated they would discipline their own players for not standing will not discipline them?
No, we didn't discuss that. It wasn't necessary. We had a real focus on making sure that all of our teams understood the kind of dialogue that took place, the kind of things that they were interested in getting support from them. And there was complete support for the NFL each club supporting their players, and continuing the dialogue that they've had on the club level. I would tell you there's unprecedented conversations and dialogue going on between our players, between our owners, between our club officials, between the league, and that is a really positive change for us, and we think ultimately is going to pay dividends.
Productive meetings with the players. You personally, do you understand what they're protesting, and can you explain your understanding of that?
Yes, they're very clear about it, and they're actually incredibly knowledgeable, articulate, and they've spent the time to go into the communities and talk about that. And so they really, truly understand it. They're talking about criminal justice reform, whether it's bail reform, whether it's talking about sentencing, mandatory sentencing. They're talking about changes that I think will make our communities better, that there is bipartisan support for across our nation and that need focus. They're talking about what we can do to support them to effectuate that legislative change. And that's, again, very, very positive. They're talking about equality issues, making sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to give people an opportunity, whether it's in education or economic, and what we can do to try to effectuate that. And we believe with the players that we can help them, we can support them, and those are our issues, national issues, American issues, that are all important to deal with.
Was there
Roger.
Last question.
Roger, hey, two-part question here. Number one, have you communicated?
Taking two questions?
Do you mind? Have you at all communicated with President Trump? Do you have any plans to communicate with President Trump? Second question is a football question. Pace of play. How happy are you with just the fact that it seems like the games are going quicker this year?
Yeah, I have not. To your first question, to the second question, we're very pleased with the pace of game changes. We've seen, in particular, what I call the double ups, and that bother me so much on the commercial format. We've seen, I think it's close to a 90% reduction in that this year, which I think is good for our fans. I think it's good for the experience of watching an NFL game, whether you're in the stadium or on television or on another platform. And we said all along, this wasn't about reducing the length of games, it was the pace of the game. And so the 40-second clocks, as an example, that we put in after the point after touchdown and after the touchdowns have had a real impact. Centralizing replay and bringing the Surface tablet to the sideline so the official can do it. All of that's sped up what we consider downtime, time that's not, we don't believe is attractive to our fans. So we're happy with it. It's only 6 weeks, we've got a long ways to go, but we're continuing to see what we can do to keep pushing that, because we believe that's good for the experience. Okay.
Rick is parking in the just adjusting the
Hey Greg, is this went live? You got 1 second delay?